good afternoon for all of us that are attending the Compassion Center Santa Barbara Response Network. I welcome you. Today, I have the honor of speaking with my friend and colleague and SBRN partner, Sondra Weiss. And we're going to be talking about the lost art of love letters, Thankful Thursdays, and many other projects that are being held in our community and internationally. But first, I wanted to just say hello to everybody. These are challenging times, and we've all had to, as we said today, be flexible and be open and be able to care for ourselves and be present during some of the most challenging times that we've experienced. The Santa Barbara Response Network, for those who do not know, is a nonprofit grassroots organization completely run by volunteers. And we offer response, psychological first aid to people, families, any place where there's been a traumatic incident, English and Spanish, and now in Mixteco. We're going to be offering training and responses in Mixteco as well to our Indigenous community. We offer also psychological first aid training for anyone that wants to be trained to be able to respond. All our services are free. So please go to the Santa Barbara Response Network website, sbresponse.org, and learn more about our work. And today, for my conversation, my very, very dear friend, colleague, and partner, Sondra Weiss, and we've been working together for a number of years with Sondra and the Love Letter Project. And we started working together, I think, during the debris flow and the fires, using and incorporating both psychological first aid and Sondra's project, the letter writing project, to the community to help healing. And many, many people have been impacted by this beautiful project, and now with the launching of Thankful Thursdays. And Sondra's an art educator and artist, and she's been working, oh my gosh, nationally, internationally, reaching as far as the UN with her work in healing the oceans, healing our environment, and healing our heart. So welcome, Sondra.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And I wanted to just have you open up and share with our community how the Love Letter Project was, originated. What was your, your goal, but also your feeling for creating the Love Letter Project?
Hey, so I've been a museum art educator for almost 2 decades. And about 5 years ago, I just thought, like, with the weight of the world and the news and just the mental wellness that I saw reflected in my students, I was like, the world just needs more love. And so I did what I know how to do. And I went out to a park in Santa Barbara and I put out art supplies and letter writing envelopes, paper, that kind of thing, and postage stamps. And one sign said free and one sign said love letters. And anyone passing by can send out a colorful pick-me-up to anyone in their life that needs it. Maybe it's their neighbor, a coworker. And that's how the Lost Art of Love Letter Project started, just thinking how I can possibly give back to the world, or what the world needs, the antidote to everything that was going on. And my answer was love. And what I investigate through my project 5 years in is just how to ignite more caring in our world, how to ignite more empathy, understanding, and how to get people motivated to take action and truly rise up to protect what they love, whether it's environment, social issues, or mental wellness, or even love for yourself as well as others. So those are basic themes that I tend to engage people locally and internationally on.
And what's so beautiful about letter writing, because I'm a writer and I write poetry, and I love writing longhand. And there's something in the lost art of letter writing in general, love letters, letters of any kind, that there's something so beautiful in receiving a postcard or a letter that you can hold in your hand and not on a screen. Not that emails aren't lovely also, but can you say something about what you've experienced with the power of sharing these cards, these letters, what you've seen?
Yeah.
In your experience?
I think two things happen there. I think when you actually, because we live in such a rush society, and so I think giving anyone the opportunity, as well as yourself, to just slow down and take pen to paper and really connect what's in your heart with what's in your mind, and then write it off on paper. It's very cathartic. It feels good, and it really puts you in alignment with what your true feelings are on a person or a subject. So I think that in general is magic to watch the participants do that. It can watch their physical body change as they really get to express. And not only are people writing with pen to paper, but a lot of times they'll have art supplies out so they can express creatively too. And so that's step one, is the expression of the participant. And then next is anyone that sees that letter. And so when you see a colorful pick-me-up or something that draws you in, I think it really, really wakes up the recipient. It touches their heart. And if it is something, say it's an environmental letter about protecting the ocean, I think when you touch something that someone put time and effort in, that handmade, it's kind of a lost art nowadays. And I think it really does inspire someone else to take action when they see and feel the sentiments. And so it's a very tangible way to get ideas and messaging and ignite caring.
It's so true, because I know that when I get just little thank you cards from people, and it's so touching. I put them all around. I keep them, and they're a reminder. And someone took the time to send me a thank you card. My goodness, it's nice to get the email, but those cards, I keep them all. I mean, so I know exactly what you're speaking of. It's the person taking the time and then you receiving it. There's a communication of the heart that is so healing. And I think I shared a story with you, and I will with people listening. And we work a lot in the field of suicide prevention at my work at the Glendon Association and Psych Alive. And there was a study done that when people had made a suicide attempt, and went to hospital and were released, went home, they had a project where they sent people cards checking in on how they were doing. And they did this for several months. And they had a group of people who did not receive cards and a group that did. And the people who received the cards, I think that there were no reattempts for suicide as opposed to the other group. This is kind of a well-documented study. So I do think that you're on to something that's so valuable and that is supported by research, that kind of communication, that reaching out has a huge life-saving effect for the mental health of anyone. So that's why when I met you and heard about your project, I just fell in love with it. And now we're partners in the Santa Barbara Response Network. And as I just feel like it's a wonderful addition to what we have. And now we have Thankful Thursdays, which I'm really thrilled to launch and share with you. Can you share with us the concept behind Thankful Thursdays and what you're doing with that?
I think honestly, it's been such a heavy year for everyone, even including myself, having to pivot my project to so many different ways, having to be more virtual than hands-on. And I myself wanted to get into a ritual of gratitude. And so every Thursday, along with co-creating with the Santa Barbara Response Network, as well as Optimist Daily, a news network that posts positive news around the world, we came up with Thankful Thursdays. And so we post every Thursday through social media channels inspiration. So we'll have a subject of who you're going to write your letter to, as well as different art techniques. So we've sent letters in the past on Thursdays to someone in your life that brings about peace and happiness, just that really good friend that you feel amazing to be around. And we've also sent them out to nonprofits that are doing the hustle in these times, those hardworking organizations, those grassroots organizations. It feels good for them to be appreciated. And this week, we're going to send them out to teachers, educators, and mentors.
Oh.
So they can be your own teacher, your child's teacher, or maybe a friend who's a hardworking educator and you just want to give them a colorful pick-me-up, show them that you see the work they're doing out in the world. We're actually creating, I have these really fun thank yous. We're creating, we did pop-ups this week. And so it's so fun. So, what a hoot it is to have them as a teacher. Yeah. So we'll have a little explanation on how to create the pop-up cards in our video this week. So it's really fun just to sit down and think about who and what touches your heart, what teacher really influenced your life, inspires you, showing that you appreciate the dedication and time they put in, and telling them perhaps like favorite lessons you've done or insights that you've taken with that they've taught you and that you use in your life. Or you can thank them if that's your child's teacher. You can create one together and thank them for the patience they have with your child, or just like showing up of being a radiant, exuberant teacher. So that's what we're working on this Thursday, but each Thursday we'll launch a different theme as well as an art technique to go with it. And we give you writing prompts so you don't get stuck on with a blank piece of paper in front of you.
Oh, it's so inspiring. And people can find out more by following you on the Lost Art of Love Letters, or the Optimist Daily,
exactly,
or Santa Barbara Response Network.
Yeah, you can look at our website. Instagram's a great place just to get a feel for what we're doing and watch some of the videos. And it's at Lost Art of Love Letters. The website is www.lostartofloveletters, and same on Facebook. You can follow us too.
Yeah, but I love that you're focusing on different people every week, so we can really think about the people that have touched our lives. I was on a call this morning where we're reaching out to seniors, the mental wellness team, the community wellness team, where we're going to be have a phone tree. So seniors are people who, they really appreciate letters. They're not some of them as comfortable with the computer. So to get a note or something in their hand would be really, I think, also valuable and reach deeply inside. So I think that the thought of every Thursday taking that time, like a practice, like a meditation, like, okay, it's Thankful Thursdays. It really is like it's starting to take hold in my mind as I'm already thinking this Thursday and every Thursday. And if we all got into that rhythm, our brain accommodates and our heart. And definitely, again, research has shown that one of the greatest antidotes for depression, anxiety is gratitude, and shifting the feeling from lack to sharing. That has a very powerful effect and healing effect. So your project is really an antidote for some of the suffering that many people are experiencing.
Yeah, that was,
as you said, in creating it and receiving it.
Yeah, that's when I was conceiving the project 5 years ago. I didn't know the antidote to any of what I can do for the hate I saw in the world, the heaviness I saw upon my students, and just the news that was coming at us again and again and again. And again, like, the only thing that I can come to is love, like love and empathy. And those are definitely verbs, they're actions. So how we can be that, how we can live that, and how we can share it and ignite it in others. And for me, art and writing is such a great way to express it into the world. And letters have been used throughout time. I mean, to share the most sentiments, whether it's friendships or romance, or even to declare government or policy done through a form of a letter. So there is power behind that, and there's power behind the words, and there's power behind the feelings.
Absolutely. And when you and I did we were together at some of the gatherings for after the debris flow here in Santa Barbara, and I saw several times where you had your art supplies and many children and adults, but to see them sit and do the art and thank the firefighters, that was one huge, a community that we all wanted to thank. And now our nurses and doctors and people on all the front lines, to see the children saying thank you for what you're doing. It was so touching for them to have an opportunity to express the gratitude they felt.
Yeah.
And when it was so beautiful to see. I went down to the Office of Emergency Management, and all of the walls were covered with some of the artwork that children had sent, or it was like they had just put them all up. And I was, I could see that it meant so much to them.
Yeah. They're tangible. Like, you can feel the energy of a letter. I mean, the color that comes in it, the sentiment in it. And not only, like what we said earlier, is the people doing it have this cathartic release. I remember one of the events we were at with you, and people whose homes were affected and lives were really affected by the debris flow, they were brought to tears. At Santa Barbara Response Network and Lost Art of Love Letters would give them an opportunity like that to really thank the ones that put their lives at risk to help save the whole community. And so I think that in that, it's like these small actions that all of us can do, these small deeds of really thinking about others and putting that love, putting that feeling into the world really does change the world. And what you said, when you see all the pictures hanging, it raises your vibration, it raises your posturing, and you're in that attitude of gratitude. And then it's contagious, and you just want to give more love and happiness and caring to someone else.
Yeah, it's so true. I just bought a book that someone recommended called The Book of Delights. And it's a New York Times book. And this man, who's a poet, he's a National Book Award winner, I think. I can't even remember his name. It's Book of Delights. And every day for a year, he wrote his delights for the day. And he thought, oh, this is so silly. But after the year, he said, my life went on. There was pain, there was suffering, but there was more delight. Just the fact that I turned my attention on what was delightful to me, walking on the street, an encounter with someone. And he turned it into and he did it longhand, and they're little essays. So I recommend it, but it reminded me of your project, where we're really shifting the attention and we're all suffering, we're all hurting, we're all afraid. But what I loved about what you've done is that you've taken what you do and your passion and what you feel comfortable doing, and you're sharing that. And we can all do that. We all have something. It could be baking, weaving, writing, art, dancing, whatever it is, make it your own and share it and spread that energy, because that's what you're conveying in your project, is share what you have, because it does raise the vibration.
Yeah. And you can see, like, one by one, we unite each other to become more alive and more living this life. And that is shared through art, through music, and everyone has their gift. I mean, there's people today that helped us with technology, if that's not our strong suit, to make this happen. So everyone has to add to this puzzle and to help create this community.
Absolutely. And that's what you have, is important to honor that, whatever it is that is your passion. I remember the author, Ross Gay, but of the Book of Delight. But yes, I have to thank my interns from UCSB who volunteer their time to help us do the Facebook Live and the compassion centers and the trainings. It's all these people who want to help. They've offered their time. And so it forms a sense of community, which is also very healing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we heal in community, and
True.
your project is forming that sense of community as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to do as much of that as we can. I wanted you to share a little bit about your, I know when I went down to the marina and you were doing the letter writing for the ocean and healing the ocean, you want to talk a little bit about what you've done in that regard with healing our oceans?
Thank you for that one. So that's where I go to rejuvenate and recharge. Probably the same as you is, I love the ocean. I mean, that excites my soul and really makes me feel alive to either be on, in, under the water, whether it's sailing, surfing, diving. Kelp forests out here in Santa Barbara are just absolutely glorious. And one of my favorite inspirations is Jacques Cousteau, and he said people protect what they love. So I thought with my love letters, I'm going to engage people around the world to write love letters for the ocean to help protect it. And so at the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum in our harbor right now, there's an interactive exhibit for love letters to the sea. So we have prompts and inspiration, so you can write a postcard or a letter for environmental protection and ocean protection. So if you were a voice for the ocean, how would you help protect it? And that can be anything. Plastic pollution is a really big problem globally. So you might be sending your letters to city council or school boards asking them to limit their plastic consumption use. Whaling and shark finning really speaks to a lot of youth and people around the world. So they send their letters and asking to help stop that kind. In Santa Barbara, we have oil rigs offshore, and there's great organizations such as Heal the Ocean right now that are working to cap and clean up and halt the use of oil, and then putting more time and energy towards alternative energies such as wind or solar powered. So that's what you use those love letters. Love Letters to the Sea is the name of the project. And I work with youth all around the world, and actually I work with scientists too. I work with people of all ages. And it's a great way to, once again, put your heart and ideas together onto paper. And it actually does affect policy change. We've used them to help inspire city councils to make laws and policy to help their towns. And that's not only in America, we've done it in other nations too. So it's a great, simple way to become civic and to become active in your community and actually make change and really think about the future and help protect the ocean. So that's a great project. Thank you for asking about that. And it's now at the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum is where they have an exhibit of love letters to the sea.
Oh, I know the project is so inspiring because the ocean is such, we need to protect our oceans and our earth.
And all
as we are
and inhabitants, and the ocean gives us so much of the air we breathe, and it's so important to remember that, like, you can't survive without breath, and here we are taking that away from ourselves and the other creatures on this planet.
And you went to the UN and shared your work there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was just my amazing dream come true. I actually use a little notebook and I write down my big dreams for my project, who I want to work with, and goals. And my ultimate dream was to get love letters to the United Nations when all the world leaders meet for the climate summit or the climate action summits. And last year I got a phone call and I was hired by the UN Environment to work with them on a project in inspiring youth from around the world to write letters for climate action and climate change. And it was great. I went to New York City and launched a project in Brooklyn with a bunch of school kids. And I loved seeing their creative ideas and their color and just how they thought and expressed their sentiments towards the world and the environment. and the life they want to see for the world and all the creatures on our planet. And then, unfortunately, I was not there when the letters were delivered, but a youth actor, Aidan Gallagher, who's on the Umbrella Academy and he presented and he read 2 of the letters out loud. So it was a really beautiful moment that, an idea that was once inside of my head, a dream in my notebook, pen to paper dream can become a reality with a whole lot of heart, hustle, and community and people like you. Yeah, so there, like, live your dream big is my whole thing, and know that each of us, however small we are or where we are on this planet, can affect change, and it has an impact. And
oh, I know. I was so pleased. I mean, even just talking to you, I can feel my energy and my inspiration pick up just from our conversations and hearing about something that manifested, that was a dream, but also just that it's your heart work. That is so powerful, even though, we have to honor that.
And it would just tickle me that the UN right now is talking about, when they were deciding whether or not to do my project, that the UN environment was talking about love letters. I was like, I wish I could be at these meetings and hear them talk about, okay, we're going to use love to help and inspire world leaders to take more caring and more action and think about the generations, not only that came before them, but the ones that the next to rise up. And that's what inspires me so greatly. I work with youth all around the world, and they are so passionate, so intelligent, so creative. I mean, the stuff that what they're rising for, and they're speaking their passions, they're speaking their truths. And I, as an art educator, I just want to know how I can help them. How can I help them more? How can I help them express the wisdom I have in terms of art? And I call it, we call it artivism, art in action. How I can help them with the knowledge I have to further express and to further help them be a voice for perhaps people or a subject or a topic that doesn't really get out there. And so that's a lot of what I've helped to use love letters for. And I just want to thank all the youth out there that are just rising up. I mean, deeply, deeply inspired, and you help motivate me to keep going, keep giving.
Yes, I feel so much the same way, just even from our last election, to see how many young people were engaged and were out there and expressing themselves and saying what they wanted, and in the environment, the activism that's there, and in mental health too. To engage our youth and support them and mentor them is so important. So I hope that youth that do listen get involved with your project and find a way to express themselves, but also pursue their own dreams like you have, in making your work a reality and sharing it around the world. I know you go to Mexico regularly too, and share there. So I think we all can take that to heart and think about how we want to impact the world and how we want to be a part of the change we want to see. So I just in closing wanted to ask you if there's anything more you'd like to share with us today before we close.
I just want to thank everyone for the work you're doing, and everyone for doing their best in these trying times, these heavy times. And just not to forget that a simple act, and it doesn't have to be a whole long letter, even if you take a scrap of paper. And I think there is magic for pen to paper. So a little scrap and just write a cute note, a little pick-me-up, stash it in someone's lunch or hide it away for them. Just that action really does affect and change the world, these little small acts. So don't hesitate, speak what's in your heart, but send it off in the world so others can feel it too.
Yeah, Sondra, it's like the person that says, smile at the person you see. You could change that person's whole day just by a smile and a hello. Many lives have been saved with that, and with your notes as well, of reaching out and sharing love. And I want to thank you, my friend and partner. And thank you for your time today. And thank you, everybody, for listening and for watching. And please follow Sondra's work, Lost Art of Love Letters, Santa Barbara Response Network, and we're here for you during this time. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye-bye, Sondra.